Bally's has dropped covering the Arizona Diamondbacks, and the Coyotes have released a statement on today's episode of Locked On Coyotes.
You're Locked On Coyotes, your daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to the show, everybody. This is Locked On Coyotes, number one daily podcast on the Arizona Coyotes. I am your host, Rob Leonio, alongside Matthew Jacobson on this wonderful day. I had a couple days off, so now we're back, feeling better. After it's interesting, we thought we would have a show today, Matt, because the Bally Sports has dropped the Diamondbacks. Which now leaves essentially only one team left under contract with Diamond Sports / Bally Sports and in the Valley, and that is the Arizona Coyotes. This makes a really interesting situation.
Yeah, it is a very interesting situation where essentially Bally's had a monopoly on live sports for Arizona market, and they completely dismantled their own opportunity to take over the market with terrible business decisions and trying to lock it behind more and more paywalls, but where no one wanted to buy it. And now only the Coyotes are the ones that stand, which is actually kind of ironic because a lot of people in the Valley tend to think the Coyotes are the most irrelevant. So it's nice to know that they're on the irrelevant RSN, right on the doorstep of the death of the RSN, which I cannot wait for because prices are going to go down. I can tell you this right now. I subscribed to MLB TV for the Diamondbacks for $20 a month because I can watch my games affordably. The app works. Listen to it watch on the desktop. I was doing that, catching up on notes today with that 5-3 victory. Right, this is the future. This is the way. Easily accessible, affordable, leaving Bally's in the dust. And the Coyotes, I hope they do that. They need to. They cannot.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's take a look at, I think it's something that you tweeted, Matt, earlier in the day. Pretty much said that, hey, the broadcast announced on their first broadcast on the first game that was broadcast for the Arizona Diamondbacks on the MLB package. They said, hey, the viewership is up 500%. It does not.
They might have said their audience specifically, but I threw the information out there as soon as I heard it in passing. So it's literally they went from X amount of households to, they said, upwards of was the number 5.6 or 5.9 million that I threw on there. So
because not only are they on the description for MLB TV, but if you have basic cable, if you have Cox, Xfinity, whatever, you have that channel available to you. Like, for example, if you have Cox, you have what used to be Cox 7, now the YurView channel. It's now on that. So you can, that just gives you an idea of, what can be. Of course, that's what the Diamondbacks are doing. So you can also take a look at what the what the Suns and Mercury are doing in their package with Arizona Family. It's moving away from RSN into local, back to, the local networks is huge because, again, you get that audience, you get that increased availability to the audience, moving it from, let's say, just hundreds of thousands, just up maybe even a million to 5 million, 6 million, 8 million people, because you're getting ability to get to so many more households, so many more people who are able to tune in.
Do you want to know why football is as big as it is? It's regional. And I forget, I think it was Brody Brazil. I was listening to a lot of his Oakland A's content for a while, mentioning how the Raiders, you still have Oakland fans that are fans of the Raiders. You have entire regions of people that are fans of the Raiders, fans of the Dallas Cowboys, because it's such a regional thing, whereas like hockey, basketball, baseball don't tend to be the exact same thing. But growing up, I actually watched some Cubs games. I think WGN back in the day was available here. Apparently, a lot of people watch a lot of Braves baseball games because it was available essentially with most cable packages, no matter where you were. So before the D-backs got here, people were telling me how they would watch the Braves or the Cubs. And then something with, I think Brody also mentioned this as well. If you're getting closer to that, if you're making these games accessible to everyone, if more people can watch the D-backs, you can have people that are, let's say, in Alabama, people in Seattle, even though you have the Mariners. Let's say you get bored of the Mariners or you don't like the Mariners for whatever reason, you can expand the market outward. Or even just if someone's looking for a second team, hey, I can watch the D-backs too. I can watch the Mets too. I can watch, whatever. That's the first step into making it more regional, getting more eyeballs, and also making sure locally people can actually watch you. The merchandise sales go up. People get more attached to the team. More people are more willing to go to more games every year. I can tell you right now, as a kid, watching Arizona Sting games, I think I watched the Rattlers as well in there, but Arizona Sting back in like 06, 07, somewhere in there, wanting to go to those games because I actually got to watch them. I got to watch the team, be involved with the team, even though it was on a smaller scale. I didn't know what the hell I was doing at 8, 9, whatever the hell I was at that point. But it still exposes more people to it. And hey, Dad, take me to a game. I want to go to a game. I want a jersey. I want a hat. That's what you want because it leads to better ad rates later, obviously, more eyeballs, more money that those ad slots are going to be worth. There is money in that, but also in merch and tickets. There's so much money to be made in the model of take your product, put it in front of people, and let them watch it.
100%. And, to kind of stick with a similar like regional idea and getting and just the idea of access to access to watching games and something this is still using an RSN, but it gives you an idea of like the ability, just what happens in this kind of situation and the competitiveness. You know what, an interesting thing I just found out, Tucson is in a of course they had access to the Bally Sports Arizona package. But you know what they also had access to? San Diego package. So they were able to get Padres games. Like more like you had more I'm pretty sure you probably had more Padres fans in Tucson than Diamondbacks fans.
That's interesting. That's very interesting, but it's also you'll see on the maps, and there's a very small. My wife and I went to go visit a friend of ours in St. George, Utah. There's a stretch where you kind of go out of Arizona and then back in. I think you have to go through Nevada, go back into Arizona that leads up to St. George. That area of Arizona feels so isolated. It still it feels like home, feels like Arizona, like the same standard desert background. Mm-hmm. But those people would be Vegas fans or Utah fans. They would not typically be Arizona fans, even though they are right there in the northern part of Arizona, the northernest most part, just north of the Grand Canyon. So it's a really weird concept.
Similar thing. If we go, if we go on that hockey thing, Reno, Nevada is actually technically in San Jose Sharks territory.
Yeah,
more than it is Vegas Golden Knights territory.
I did not know it was that far north. I think it was another Brody Brazil video talking about arenas or stadiums that the A's could play in, and it showed how high up Reno was. I'm like, would it not make more sense for the D-backs affiliate to be in Tucson? But besides the point, we're getting distracted.
Bring back the Sidewinders confirmed?
I want the Sidewinders back. Look, there's so many memories and experiences I did not get to have as a kid growing up that if you give me the Sidewinders back, I'll drive down there for a couple games. I'm not going to drive down for that much, but bring them back anyway. Anyway, we have, first and foremost, we will get to the Coyote statement. We have to talk about FanDuel. We have to make sure to pay some respects to FanDuel. Take your first swing at betting MLB on FanDuel. Get 10 times your first bet amount in bonus bets, up to $200. That is right. Just $20 can land you $200 in bonus bets, win or lose. That's $200 you can spend on betting from everything to the money line, over under, to who you think will hit the first home run. All on an app that's safe, secure, and super easy to use. Plus, when you win, you get paid instantly. We all love to get paid instantly, right? There's no better place to bet on MLB than FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. So sign up today, FanDuel.com/LockedOn, and get up to $200 in bonus bets. That's FanDuel.com/LockedOn. FanDuel, official partner of Major League Baseball.
Something that made me think of it, Matt. If we were to place a bet on the Arizona Coyotes and how much longer they have left with their RSN at Bally Sports Arizona, given the trajectory. They did issue a statement. Let's get to that first. Then we can maybe talk about,
It's a very underwhelming and brief statement. Do you want to take the reins on this one? It is your show. I want you to have first right of refusal.
Go ahead and go for it.
We are fully aware of the developments regarding Bally Sports Arizona. The Arizona Coyotes remain under contract with Bally Sports Arizona and remain hopeful that the network will continue to broadcast our games this season. Nonetheless, we will continue to evaluate all of our options as needed and will ensure that our great fans across the valley are able to watch our games this fall. We have no further comment until we have news to announce. Very lawyer speak. It's very much saying nothing.
It's this was the kind of statement that's like, that's just like, we had to make the statement because everyone was asking.
Mm-hmm.
Now that we made the statement, stop asking until we make another statement.
Leave us alone. It's like, hey, yes, we acknowledge it. And obviously, I have to imagine, it's not an inside source, all right? I don't have Alex Murillo on speed dial. Hey, Matt, I'm going to let you know what's going on. I have to imagine trying to buy out the contract has to be on the table. I have to imagine they're conversing with the NHL. Hey, what's a backup plan? What does it look like if the NHL were to take over broadcasting games, kind of like how the MLB is doing? If the NHL might have other answers, if maybe they decide to partner with AZ Central, do a Cox 7 thing, whatever they're going to do, I have to imagine part of the deal, the potential options is buying out the contract, which I hope they do, because Bally Sports is a terrible organization. And I will say that with my chest, representing myself, not the show or the network, but
the owners. Let me be more clear. The organization that runs Bally Sports, Sinclair.
Oh, Diamond Sports Group?
No, Diamond Sports Group is like still under Sinclair. It's Sinclair. That's
so it's Sinclair, Diamond, Bally's.
Yep.
I do have a personal beef with a couple of Bally's employees, but I would still never advocate or celebrate them losing their jobs, because just because you're a bunch of jerk faces that can't keep your mouths shut doesn't mean you don't deserve to put food on the table. The people who operate and manage your company are absolutely terrible at your jobs.
People who actually work locally here in Arizona, they're hard workers. They're just trying to make ends meet, and they're working for a network. Because hey, they love broadcasting sports. But
my dad and I are friends with, mainly my dad. I'm more of an acquaintance with a couple of these people, but a lot of the camera people worked D-backs and Coyotes. One of them was working Coyotes at Mullet, and for some reason was always very much involved with the area that I was working in. So we know these people, and again, we are not happy that some of them might lose their jobs, all because Bally's and Diamond and Sinclair are terrible at what they do and can't manage business. But that's, again, my personal opinions.
Absolutely. It's just, I would have, I get that, the Coyotes non-statement essentially is, was absolutely necessary. But I really feel like we do need to get to a point when something needs to be decided soon about what they're going to do. I mean, yeah, sure. They're not going to be broadcasting games for another 3 months or whatever it is, 3 to 4 months. So it's just like, okay, we're not going to worry about that now. But we're going to start talking, but we'll get to that when we get closer. It just worries me because who knows how deep this Bally situation is going to get. This Bally and Diamond Sports situation is going to get.
Well, look at what they did with the Suns. The Suns just announced, we're going to partner with AZ Central, and Bally's sued them, even though Bally's doesn't have the money to broadcast it. They weren't going to pay. They straight up said, at least top of my head memory, when going off memory, they even said they just straight up weren't going to pay. And Matt Ishbia, they ended up not actually going to court. I think it's safe to assume the dude wrote a check, meaning these worthless individuals got paid for not doing their job just so Ishbia can get rid of them. And now we have the Suns and Mercury on AZ Central Now the D-backs, I do believe is it Freeman from PHNX, one of the PHNX D-backs guys, was talking about how he was hearing within the organization, they just didn't want to deal with change. So they were going to try to stick with Bally's as long as possible. Bally's just like, yeah, we're not going to pay. That ends, go through MLB TV. If you're not going to pay to broadcast the D-backs, and I hate to say this, I'm a hardcore Coyotes fan, the D-backs have a bigger fan base here than the Coyotes. Are they really going to even consider broadcasting Coyotes games? Because I can tell you from someone that I spoke to before the end of the hockey season, I was straight up told we had nothing to worry about with the D-backs. The funding was already there for the entire season, and look at us at the halfway point. That was the thing I was actually told. Won't tell you who told me it, but the thing I was actually told, and look where we're at. So I don't see them broadcasting a single Coyotes game next year. So what is the next step forward? What are the Coyotes going to do to get their games broadcast? Because you got to figure something out. We cannot have, only 4,600 people get to watch.
But here's the interesting thing. Bally Sports Arizona, Bally Sports does more than just the Coyotes. They cover, 12. I think we're looking at 12 different teams. Arizona, Detroit, Florida, Tampa, St. Louis, Minnesota, Columbus, Anaheim, LA, Carolina, Nashville. What are all these teams doing? We're not hearing anything about them either.
To be frank, no one cares about anything. It's not Coyotes. Let's be honest here.
Yes, you're right.
When anything goes wrong, we need to talk to the Coyotes first and foremost, and then 2 months later we could deal with everyone else.
You're right. I think it is worth asking the question, though, because you take a look at – because, come on, you really think the Coyotes are going to be the first one to make the move?
No.
Exactly.
No.
They're going to be like, oh, look, the Blues or the Ducks, they're dropping. I think it's time we figure things out. We figure things out, too.
We got to get the contract signed. The homework is due tomorrow. We got to get the contract signed.
Oh, my God. But it's a fair question to ask. I'm taking a look at
it is 100%.
Yeah, you know what really disappointed me, and here's another thing that I want to point out, Matt. We knew that about a year ago that Diamond Sports was in some financial trouble, but they were having problems with getting people to watch the games, that they're not getting the money revenue. And my thing my comment at the time was just expand your viewership, go back to Hulu Plus Live TV, back to those to other cord cutters, YouTube TV and all those, because that's where everyone's watching TV now. Make access to those people again. And they didn't. You know what they did instead? They created Bally Sports Plus.
No one liked it. All I saw, anyone talking about it at all, especially Coyotes fans, it was just, your app doesn't work. Your app sucks. Fix your app. It's literally all I saw.
Opening night was the biggest disaster for Coyotes fans. I think that's when they freaking were launching it. And everyone was complaining like crazy because it wasn't working.
So I'm going to let you know a little secret. Since I lost my job, hit rock bottom, had to move back in with my dad around 2018, before I started my YouTube channel, right around then, I didn't watch any TV at all. It was just YouTube. That was when I made the switch to just watching YouTube videos. That's my main source of entertainment. It's how I go to sleep. It's how I've fallen asleep for over 5 years now. It brings me comfort. Whether I'm driving in the car, I'm at work, doing whatever. I don't listen to music very often. It's YouTube videos, podcasts, whatever. People like me, again, with the MLB TV thing, and this is not like a paid thing. It's just I just give my thoughts here. You make it accessible. You make it affordable. People will pay. It's the same piracy argument. Whenever you have to go through these 18 different hoops, someone's just going to sail the high seas. You have an app that works. You go to where the people are. You go to where the market's at. You find a way. I don't care how you got to do it. Get with Google. Get with Disney, who owns most of Hulu. Get with whoever you got to get with. Hey, your service, your live service, I want to add this to it. How can we partner? How can we revenue split? Because if you're only getting a fraction of people. Sports bars here. We couldn't even go to sports bars and watch a lot of these games because they didn't have Bally Sports. They didn't have
I was in Tucson when I was living in Tucson. There were a couple nights in which I don't have I don't have access to Bally Sports Arizona at home.
Mm-hmm.
I use other means of listening and watching to the games other than the days in which I'm not there as members of the press.
Mm-hmm.
When I was in Tucson, I would go to a sports bar, and one of the sports bars I went to, sometimes it worked and they had it, and other times oh, sorry, we don't have it, it's not working. I'm like, I'm sitting here trying to order some food, and you're telling me that the game I want to watch isn't on these TVs. Then why am I here? You're a sports bar.
It's because my dad and I have DirecTV, and I used to watch a lot of D-backs in 2018, 2019. Also, I was watching a lot of sports. All right, that's what again got me sparked right back into it. As soon as they took it off, I haven't been able to watch a D-backs game minus the free one on whatever you get every now and again, or having to listen to it or whatever, find an alternate means for years. Someone like me who loves the idea. You come home, you kick your feet up, you get a drink of your choice. I like soda, water, whatever. Get some food, get a notepad, and just watch a baseball game, relax and take notes, enjoying a baseball game. You lost my viewership. You lost my money because they decided to not renew contracts and pull stuff off and make it more expensive so more people weren't going to pay for it. They literally took – these are all example numbers straight from my anus. This is not actual data in front of me. You take 1 million people that are watching and then be like, well, I want to raise the prices. So 100K drop out. Now you got 900K. Well, now this entire network, we're just going to pull it off of that. Okay, so now you're down to 600K. And then you just keep whittling it down and down. And then you're wondering why the hell you're not getting paid. You're wondering why no one's paying you to watch it because you're going out of your way to make it as difficult as possible and as expensive as possible, and no one likes you. I am so glad RSNs are dying because we need actual, affordable, with competition, an affordable marketplace to be able to watch our sports. And I feel like we're finally getting it with no more blackouts, none of that stupidity. Like the AHL TV model. I have not subscribed to that, but I'm going to look into it for Tucson. With that model, MLB TV, similar thing. You can either pay for all the teams or you can pay for just the one team. It's perfect. It is perfect.
If you want to watch all the games, you can. If you just want to watch your team, you can do that too. I was one that actually did the all access pass for AHL because I kind of wanted, at the time when I was covering the Roadrunners, I wanted to pay attention to all the teams. So I was actually well informed on covering the American Hockey League, which worked for me. It actually ended up really helping me out. It made me a really good reporter. It was just, it added up, which again, I just wanted you know what? Time for me to, downgrade. And I was able to do that. That's pretty easy. But it's amazing the fact that we're going towards that direction now. With Diamondbacks and then being access to all the local cables now, with the Suns and the Mercury, them being access to an Arizona family.
Did we evolve but backwards? These were all accessible on regular cable when I was a kid. I was watching D-backs again. I think Rattlers, Sting, Suns. I remember watching all these games. And then they gated it off more and more and more. But now we're going back to basic cable. We're evolving but backwards, but the backwards evolution is more pro-consumer and more logical. We just took this diversion for 15, 20 years of here's how you make money. You lock off the content away from as many people as possible.
Yep. I'm gonna make one more comment about RSNs too. I think it's really important. We're mainly a Coyote show, but I want to kind of broaden the focus too to other sports as well, as we've been talking about this. As I said, at the Suns and the Mercury and the Diamondbacks. I'm going to go one extra here and go in the disaster that we're seeing over the Pac-12 network. Look, that's going to similar situation. No one's getting access to those games. Less and less people are getting access to those games. And now people are trying to find a right TV deal. RSNs are a disaster, Matt. They're a freaking disaster.
You know what's funny? So here's how NHL app. I listen to Coyotes games. You can go on like 98.7 FM or whatever, listen to D-backs games. Similar concept for all these, right? Same thing with the Roadrunners. AHL app, you can listen to it for free. Was it? I lost my train of thought. What were we talking about? Send me back up, Robin.
Getting back to those RSNs, you're talking about access, listening to the games.
I'm talking about listening to the games. Oh my god, I just died. I died. I had the train of thought, and it's off. Give me a second. I'll brain blast it. Back. All right.
But it absolutely baffles me that you're right though. We are going in that backwards but forward direction.
I remember. All right. So again, that's how I access most of these games. You just listen to it for free because it was too much of a headache and all this stuff to actually watch it. ASU hockey. All right. ASU hockey. Depending on who's carrying it, what conference or whatever, you can like pay for the individual game. The price was stupid, so I ended up not doing it. Trying to figure out how to subscribe to watch ASU games, my brain melted, and I elected to just it had like a listen option, like an audio option. I went with that, or I just didn't watch the game, looked at the stats, and went off whatever highlights I could find on Twitter. And that's how I did it. Because instead of everything being accessible, easy to find, easy to understand, it's like, all right, we don't cover this one. Whatever school here, they have a local broadcast. I forget what the price, so I'm just going to say $70. I legitimately do not remember. It's $70 for this one-time broadcast. Huh? What? For 2 hours of a college game? Huh? What?
Speaking of which, you make a good point. Make a good point, and it does stick with the hockey theme of this show. With ASU joining the NCHC, I think that really should give them more the ability to have better access to watching their games. Because I think the NCHC has their own network as well, like you can just subscribe to, similar to what we've been saying, like NHL or like AHL and MLB TV.
It's almost like making it accessible. It's almost like making it
affordable.
That
is the most important part. Accessible and affordable. Because no one is going to spend, an arm and a leg just to be able to watch their games. Watch a game of one team.
It's not. It's not worth here's how I do it. I've gotten my finances in order, and I guarantee most people are going to be like this. You have a credit card, specifically one with like a lower limit. Your $20 a month subscription for the season, you throw it on that, and you're already making your payments anyway on your credit card, and it makes it easier to digest. Or if it's like $100 to $120 for the entire season, depending on the league or whatever, most people, if they're planning for it, they can have that if they want to just do it in the lump sum, or they can do it in the bite-sized piece, $15 to $20 a month. Most people are just going to do that and be happy with their service, because they can kind of forget about it. They're paying their bills normally anyway, and it doesn't feel like an inconvenience. When it's like, here's $50 for the one game, excuse me? And they play two? I'm paying you $100 for 2 games.
Especially with all the added other subscriptions. Because everyone is subscribed to Hulu, to Netflix, to Disney, to ESPN Plus, now that your NHL games are over at ESPN Plus. Sunday Ticket if you're a football fan, MLB TV if you're a baseball fan. It adds up.
Yeah, it adds up. Also, remember to cancel your subscriptions at the end of seasons, just so you don't have to deal with if you're not watching whatever content they're making in the off season. That's why I love the option, with Xbox Live, you pay the $60 for the year. For AHL TV, even for the D-backs, oh, hey, you want to pay $59.99 or $55, whatever it was for the rest of the season? You can just do that in a lump sum. Me, I didn't have the available credit, so I just threw it to $20 a month on a credit card and said, screw it. It's fine. I pay more than that every paycheck. Anyway,
I did the same thing with MLB audio because I only I drive a lot and I like listening to San Francisco Giants games because that hometown broadcast makes me feel like I'm back at home. I know. I'm speaking to the wrong audience on that part, but it was cheap. But even then, come off season, I was able to just hit pause on my subscription and be like, hey, I wasn't getting charged that $4 a month or whatever they were charging me for it.
All I'm saying, accessibility matters. Affordability matters. If you're gonna, some like the Disney bundles are trying to go back to just cable. Excuse me. Basically, just like, hey, bundle it together. It's just cable, but with extra steps. Essentially, make it simple, make it easy, accessible, and affordable. And even if like, hey, we might need more subscribers to turn a profit. If it's more affordable, 10 million people might subscribe versus 3 million. So you have to think about it like that, because I am stingy when it comes to re-upping subscriptions. I hate that. All right, finances in order, I can kind of accept it for D-backs or Coyotes, maybe. All right, but like I don't want to have to. But I'll suck it up just a little bit, But give people options. Hey, you can pay for the whole year. Hey, you can do it bite-sized chunks. Hey, it's affordable. Most people can look at that and say, yeah, okay, I can do that. I'm comfortable, especially in a recession, dude. You got to be as affordable. I went to the dollar store today. Everything was like $4 or $5. You got to make it affordable or I'm not showing up.
All right. Let's get to the closing bit on this show. Let's look at odds of what for the Coyotes' next sports TV package for the next season. We got, and here are our options for odds, Matt.
All right.
Option 1.
These actual
Bally
betting
Sports
odds,
Arizona.
It's an actual thing I can better now.
Yep. Option 1, Bally Sports Arizona. They stick with them until Bally Sports actually completely dies off.
Okay.
Option 2, they follow the HBO route and go to Arizona Family. Option 3, they work deal with every major like cable network with Cox and Xfinity and whatever, and get on one of those local channels like the Cox Yearview or the Cox 7 channel or whatever it is on each of those networks.
AZ Central has the contract with the Suns. We had the issue where the Coyotes always got put onto Fox Sports Plus or Bally Sports Plus. I feel like the Cox 7 route is the most logical route. But the Coyotes never seem to like to do things logically or neatly. So give me sticking with Bally's until it dies, baby.
Oh, God. Just
let it ride. Oh, the Bally's went under. We got 3 games left in the season. I guess you're not watching. I guess the NHL's going to have to show up and bail us out.
The Coyotes that happens, and the Coyotes are a couple of games away from maybe even getting a wild card spot.
It would be perfect if it ends 10 minutes before the last game of the season and the Coyotes are 1 point out of the playoff spot. And it's against the team in the second wild card spot. That's what's going to happen. So that I can report that day, because I work there, I can report whatever I want. I can report that Peter Mueller came out of retirement, and you have to just believe me because the Coyotes didn't think ahead.
Oh my God. I love it. All right. Any final things you want to talk about before we close off?
Yeah. Ask Robin. I just spent like an hour before, and I have to get up at 5 a.m. tomorrow to work the Cardinals training camp. I just spent like an hour having to run to Walmart, come back with a brand new camera setup, and it still isn't functioning the way I want.
And I'm the one producing and editing all of these.
Oh, have fun. Have fun. This is why I have no problem with negotiating you to get the higher rate. Because I don't want to do. I would not. I would just quit. Sorry, it's my last day. No, I had to deal with the hardware. You can deal with the products.
All right, good enough. I'll take it. Anyways, that's it for today's episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. If you like what you heard, don't forget to leave a review, like, comment, subscribe if you've yet to already. We're available everywhere you get your podcast, including on YouTube and the SiriusXM radio app. Don't forget to interact with us on social media. We're on Facebook, facebook.com/LockedOnCoyotes, on Threads at Locked On Coyotes, and on Twitter at LO_Coyotes. I'm personally at Robin_Leano. Matthew Jacobson is at The Easy Sports Guy. Interact with us, ask a question you might have, we might answer right back, or in a future episode of the Locked On Coyotes podcast. Thanks again, everyone, for listening to today's episode. I hope you guys staying safe out there. Hope you guys staying healthy. And don't forget to howl on.